Hello viewers, here is a Living Accents box fan. This is a smaller fan. Looks like the blade is going to be about maybe 8.5, 8 inches across. It's a 2-speed model. The informations are here. It is the model number FB25-S3A, and it's a Midea product, and it's from November of 2010, and unfortunately it was made in China. And it draws 0.45 amps, which is an awful lot of power for a little thing like this. It's always amazed me that even to this day they still make these little fans with these shaded pole motors that draw a lot of power. I don't know how the FTC and all these other organizations still permit the sale of these kind of products, considering how inefficient shaded pole motors are and how absolutely efficiency obsessed all these entities have become. Regardless, this is a cheap piece of junk, of course. It's made of very thin, flimsy plastic, and the performance is very subpar, but I really take a liking to this thing. We had gone on a vacation sometime in the, probably was over a decade ago now. I thought it was in like the 2000s, maybe the real early 2010s. And in the particular destination that we went, there was a Lakewood box fan in very similar fashion to this one. I did end up finding one of those Lakewood fans. I believe the model number is 10PBX. And I really liked that little Lakewood box fan. And so as I was searching for one after going on that vacation, I would come across ones like these, and I kind of liked them because they reminded me of that Lakewood box fan. And of course, I remember in the 2000s seeing those little Duracraft window table fans everywhere around here. Those were quite popular for some time. So I took a liking to these little box fans, and I tended to buy them whenever I saw them and the price was reasonable. I remember getting this particular one very distinctly. I got it when I was in college. I used to go to an awful lot of tag sales at the time because I lived a ways from the university. I didn't live on the campus. I still lived at home. And sometimes I would have, say, a class in the morning and then another class in the evening, and it wasn't worth coming back home in between those two classes. So I'd have a couple of hours that I would have to find something to do. And I worked at the time, so a lot of times I would work in between my classes, but sometimes I would have a couple of hours that I could do whatever else with, and so I would often go to tag sales. You know, this was on Friday. Not a lot of tag sales during the middle of the week, but say I would go on Fridays. Sometimes I worked on Saturday mornings, and I would go to tag sales after work, because in the area where the university is, the population is very dense. So you go a couple miles only, and you'll see a ton of different houses. So there was a lot of good tag sales around there, and a good portion of the things that I have in my collection came from that period in my life. And certain items I remember very distinctly. This particular fan I had gotten at a house which had an absolutely incredible dual install of antique brass Hunter passports in the living room. It was a gigantic living room, very high ceiling, and the second level was open to the living room, and you could see the fans real close. I wish I had my camera with me that day so that I could have taken a photograph. I didn't always carry a camera with me. Now I do, but I didn't used to. And so sometimes I would see things like that and it would haunt me for a long time because I really wanted to take a picture of it because it was cool. And I never got to take a photograph of it. So I remember that, getting this fan. I think it was in the spring too. I don't know if that was no, I wouldn't have been pre-YouTube. So there would be a video. There would be a video of this fan probably within a year or two of when I got it. I'll have to look back on the original video. It looks like I cleaned and serviced this too, so probably there was multiple videos of this particular fan. Anyways, so this is not Midea's best work. I have generally been pretty fond of the Midea fans that I've used. This one, it's kind of subpar. The performance just, it's not that good. So let's go ahead and plug this thing up. It is new enough to have a fused plug, but at least the plug can, the fuse can be replaced. I suppose the plug could be replaced too if you're crafty enough. I could certainly replace the plug, but I don't know why they bother to make the fuse replaceable. Nobody's going to even change it. That's some waste of time. Alright, so we're looking at 121.7 volts. The voltage is high today. And I'll switch this over to... Oh, the voltage just went down to 120.8. That's kind of weird. Okay, watts. Yeah, we'll do amp because that's what the rating was, and I think it was 0.45 at 120. Those are like foam feet, but then it's hard plastic on the end, so what's the point? Alright, let's start it off on the low. One of the things I like about this fan is that it starts low to high. I think more fans ought to do that. For what it's worth, the motor is pretty quiet. It's probably creating wind noise. It kind of blows out to the sides a bit, which in a lot of cases is nice because then it covers a wider area. You can use this and it'll feel like a larger fan. So it's running now on low. It's 0.26 amps, 20 watts. With a power factor of 0.62. I think it's just about up to full speed now. And the airflow is actually it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's not quite as good as the Duracraft fans, but it's not totally deplorable. You can feel it several feet back still, but it's kind of loud, so for the noise level, you know, it's a little bit disappointing. It's not in perfect balance, but it's not terrible either. Of course, the aerodynamics are not quite right. You know, you look at the back here and it's all, you know, it's not terrible, but on the sides it's all thick plastic, and so you get a lot of noise from the air trying to pass through this guard. Same thing on the front. It's not the most aerodynamic thing out there. Now let's go to the 2. Running pretty fast, but it's just not moving a whole lot of air. I'm not even sure this really stacks up to the Duracraft on the low. High, that's 0.33 amps, which is a fair bit below what it planned. 25 watts. and the power factor is still 0.62. I always thought the hub was kind of cool looking on this fan. It's very circular. Spin down is kind of short. So there it is, a cheap Living Accents 8-inch box fan.